This is Solomon Cat, isn't he handsome? Did you come to see .com? Did you make an appointment? How do you know she's available? Look at us, Solly. Solomon, look at us. He belongs to Bonnie Otterback. They own a church, a community church. Folks, it's 70 degrees. The last day of October, it is 70 degrees. What's going on here? This is Glendora versus Charles Dolan, Cablevision, son James Dolan, Matthew Dill, Thomas Garger, Charles Forma, Peggy Anderson, Christine Savarino, Cecilia Masterilli, Robert M. Callagay, Sadly Stevens, Burke and Burke, and Patricia Langelotti. This thing has taken 2 years. It was started in 2004. It was the work of John M. Voch in the Harrison Court was abominable, and he doesn't know what he's doing, and it's being appealed in the Supreme Court, State of New York. The oral argument is tomorrow on All Saints' Day, the first day of November. What is that there? That is the file. No, that is the log. These are things to tell the 3 judges. And this is to ask the judges about their constitutional oath. And it goes on and on. I'm reading here the Glendora's reply brief of 60 pages. And it's the last thing that has to be read, and then I got to go through them again. And over here is the box packed for court. Okay, draw a line. Over here, folks, is another Cablevision case in the Yonkers City Court, Glendora versus Christine Savarino, who was too scared to appear in court and face the world as an American should. She was just didn't have what it takes. And so I have to go back to work on that when I finish this oral argument for Glendora versus Charles Dolan, Cablevision, his son, and so forth, down through Langelotti. You were a tidy boy. The mother and her son were riding along the bus. Rather in the bus. Riding along in the bus. And the mother says, you were a tidy boy not to put your banana peeling on the bus floor. Where did you put it? And the boy said, in the pocket of the man sitting next to us. To God be the glory, great things he hath done. So loved he the world, he gave us his Son, who yielded his life an atonement for sin, and opened the life gate that all may come in. Praise the Lord, praise the Lord, let the people rejoice. Praise the Lord, praise the Lord, let the earth hear his voice. Oh, come to the Father through Jesus the Son. Give him the glory, great things he hath done. This guy has been persecuted by this white, dirty poison that comes out of the jet planes deliberately, full of ethylene dibromide, and you have to breathe it. It's full of stuff. Bacteria, fungus. But God is bigger than that. Who's doing this? Why? Where? It was so pretty. It was so beautiful before this came. Who is doing it? What are they doing? How could they spoil a beautiful blue sky? The universe is so vast, folks. I'm reading the astronomy book. The nearest star is 4 light years. Light travels at 186,000 miles per second. Think how far it travels in a year? 4 of them? That's the nearest star? And how far is the nearest galaxy? I forgot. But then it's so vast. And some of them are 200 million light years away. Some of them are billions of light years away. It's so big, folks. We can't grasp it. But at least we got our moon. It's only 240,000 miles away. This is October 31st. All Hallowed Eve. All Saints Eve. And it's 6:30 p.m. Well, you can see something, folks. It's 7 o'clock in the morning on All Saints Day. And we 2 saints are on our way to court to stand up for public access. We are in Hudson, New York, and we will be going across the Hudson River. Is it the Rip Van Winkle Bridge? Is that the name of it?
Yeah.
And down Route 87, which is the New York State Thruway, and over 84 west to Goshen, New York. Did they tell you what college is?
Nope. You can go west for free.
What's that sign say? And what's that say over there? Okay. Mary. Now we're turning south.
Not yet.
Onto 87. Folks, I was on Eastern Daylight Time when I told you 7 o'clock we left. We left at 6 o'clock. Six a.m.
The one for Leeds, I think. It gets you onto 87.
Did they say Jefferson?
Jefferson Heights.
Jefferson Heights.
It's that way. And we're going toward Leeds.
Leeds?
L-E-E-D-S. Never been there.
Is that a hospital?
No, it might be a hump in the road. Because we won't make it. We'll get off.
We're approximately 30 miles south of Albany. No, we're approximately 40 miles south of Albany. I think, folks, you better get a better guide. This is New York State Thruway, which they said they would have paid for in 10 years. And when was that? Let's see. I was on WRGV.
Thank you.
Let's see, I was on WRG in 1962. So they said they'd have it paid by 1972, and this is 2006. We're still paying for it. And they lied to us. And guess what the Bible passage is this morning, folks? Listen to this. Can you read it? It says, therefore, putting away lying, let each one of you speak truth with his neighbor. Ha ha! For we are members of one another. Shame on you, Thruway. Shame on you, New York State. We stay on 87 New York Thruway.
Till we get to exit 17, I think.
Okay, that sounds right. And go west on 84?
Yes. Going that way. Yeah.
I'm going to read you the directions that the court gave me and see what you think of them. We got a sunrise, folks. It'll be the last you see the sun today, I think. Where are we now, Mary? Did you remember the last town?
No, I don't. You'd be looking over probably Dutchess County on the other side.
Yeah, we're definitely on.
Yeah.
Oh, Dutchess County isn't on the other side of the river.
Yeah, it would be on the other side.
No.
We'd be in Ulster, I think.
Where?
Probably in Ulster County.
Oh, Ulster, yeah, okay. Where the rent is cheaper. We just did our morning devotions. Beside us to guide us, our God with us joining, ordaining, maintaining his kingdom to come. Listen to this, folks. So from the beginning, the fight we are winning. The Lord was at our side. All glory be thine. Now this is a lesson this morning in devotion. Spend your alone time with God the first thing you get up in the morning. You get up in the morning and you got to go to court. You got to stand before 3 judges. Do you have time for your devotions? Do you have time to spend your alone time with God? It's a real test. But I think we passed it. At 7:10 a.m. we're on the west side of the Hudson River on the New York State Thruway, coming to our exit, which is 17. No, yeah, is it our exit 17? Or is it Route 17?
No, both.
Oh, it's exit 128, that's what it is. Or is it? Well,
17. We're trying to get to 84.
We've been on the road 1 hour. How many miles?
Don't know. Didn't look.
We must be near New Paltz. Poughkeepsie.
Isn't that pretty?
Turn right onto ramp towards State Route 17K.
Alright, I have to get to...
I-84, Newburgh and Stewart Airport.
Alright, we'll do that after we pay our money.
Oh, we gotta pay money?
Yeah.
Oh, I got some money. Hold on.
He's right.
Aren't those mountains pretty? Is that part of the Catskills?
Cars 75 cents.
Oh, right here. Let me get out the money here. Cars, right here. I got money. If the other one was $1.10, $2.10, then I must have change. What's this? The end of 17?
This is, yeah.
I didn't get my money.
I've got change.
No, I want to pay for it. Here you are. Here's $1. Right here. And a receipt, please.
Yep.
Right there, sweetie.
Have a receipt, please. That's fine. Take your time.
Take your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, so they had to put it back on TV. All right, that was it. The court had ordered it. They couldn't take it off again in Nassau County. Mary, my hypothesis is that they tried to get even with me by taking it off here, there, and everywhere in Westchester. They took it off in Yonkers, New Rochelle, Pelham, Harrison, Port Chester, Yorktown system, which is 8 municipalities, Peekskill, Ossining.
Now, these are all separate
Yeah, those are all what you call cable TV systems.
systems within that area.
Yeah, they usually have about 8 municipalities. Are we going 84?
Yep, we gotta get our ticket. We have to get our IOU. Thank you.
Now we're on,
84.
well, that's 2 roads out of 3. So let's look at this time again. It's noon. And I say what we must be an hour and 10 minutes from home.
Maybe. We still have to do 84 before we go up.
Yeah, this is about 20 miles, they said. Didn't they? They told me 20 miles between 84 and 87. No, but, I mean, you told me from the computer that it was an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So we must be within an hour and a half of home.
Yeah.
So it looks like 1:30 with good luck. Albany, 94 miles. So we're 64 miles from Albany.
We won't go that far. So.
No, we're 64. Okay, Mary, that's my hypothesis. That's what they're really.
They can be nasty. Right?
Oh, they just don't like to be beaten. Particularly by somebody without a lawyer. And I wouldn't have a lawyer, because you know the lawyer would have.
How many times have you done this?
Done what, honey? Gone
to court.
Oh, gone to court?
Protect your rights.
Oh, I would say 100. I would say 100. You know, it's funny that Rudolph didn't bring it up, but I sued him. Back in, I'd say 1997. I sued him. I guess that's why what was Rudolph's attitude toward me?
They just sat there. All of them, you know. He was probably the most solemn.
I couldn't see Tannenbaum, could you?
No.
I don't think Tannenbaum said anything.
No, neither one did.
Oh, I think Angelino, not to me, no.
Oh.
But I think Angelino did ask a lawyer one question. It was rather unimpressive, wasn't it?
Yeah, kind of.
Huh?
Yeah, they kind of just. I think they want to go home and discuss it.
They'll probably do it there
Yeah, that's I was just
because they're all together there.
figure of speech.
Yeah, the two Nassaus and the one Westchester.
What a nice view with the sun coming over the hill.
Isn't it? Now, your music lesson starts at 2:30 or
Let's
2?
see. 2:30. Let's see. Hang on. Let me think a minute. 2:30. 2:30.
Well, after all this glamorous riding, we may end up at Stewart's. Do you think we dare go Route 66?
Not today. I can always make. I could get you someplace tomorrow, maybe.
Oh, okay.
You know that. Don't worry about getting money. That could be
Well,
tomorrow.
well, we might have time to go to the ATM up at the Cumberland.
That would work.
Well, Mary, I think we did a thorough job, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
We got there on time. Are those clouds on the hill?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. That's clouds, huh?
Yeah.
Looks like it's burned.
No.
Okay. It's pretty over here. Did you see what town we were in?
Goshen, and then something by the name of Woodbury, Woodlawn. I don't know that we passed. I don't even know what this is.
It's rural. It's not agrarian.
Yeah. Rock outcrops of rock.
We're approaching Newburgh from the west. Very soon we'll be going north on the 87, the New York Thruway. And there's the cross of Christ. Hudson River, coming home. 1:15 p.m. All Saints Day, November 1st, Wednesday, 2006 Anno Domini.
Can you get Olana on top?
What's that?
Olana?
Say again?
The art, a church's place on top of the hill.
Oh,
is
what's it called?
Olana.
Alana, a church's place on top of the hill.
Yeah.
As you come into Columbia County.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's the artist.
He what?
Frederick Church, the artist.
Say again?
Frederick Church.
Frederick Church.
Yeah. And that's his house.
And that's his house.
Was, yeah. It's now a museum.
And it's a museum for what?
Art.
Museum of Art. State? City?
State.
And Frederick Church was what?
He was a artist.
Artist. A painter?
Hudson River style.
Hudson River.
Landscapes.
Gotta get the cook. Could you go a little slowly?
Yep.
Okay. I'm all set. Now where are the cows?
Right when I turn.
Okay, slow down.
They took them away.
Oh no.
They were there the day before yesterday. They're gone.
Oh, the cows are gone. They had two statues. Were they married, two statues?
Yeah.
And they took them away.
They probably took them in for winter storage.
Oh, I see. I have to show you the first snow. The first snow. There was more on the south lawn. I should have showed you that. This is on the trunk of the 1993 Lincoln. First snow came on November 2nd, Tuesday. I looked out and it was raining. And it was around 4 or 5 o'clock. I looked out and it was raining. Then I looked at the thermometer and it said 32. And in no time at all, that rain was white. A man called 311 in New York City and asked how you'd get a job as a lifeguard. And the person who answered said that he'd give him the number of the Parks Department. And then the young man who called, said, "Do they teach you to swim?" Bind us together, Lord, bind us together. November 2nd, folks, 2006, at 6 p.m. Folks, this book on the universe says that the biggest asteroid is about 600 miles long. Wow. And the chance of an asteroid hitting the Earth is very slim. But it says the dinosaur age came to an end 65 million years ago, at the same time that a small asteroid smashed into the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. Debris was blasted high into the atmosphere, and fires raged all over the Earth, it says. The fireball from this impact triggered a global environmental crisis, and the resulting climatic change wiped out 2/3 of the species then on the Earth. No animals weighing more than 60 pounds survived. Small mammals, the size of mice, probably survived because they were burrowing animals. That sounds like some of your relatives, right? Boring animals, boring money. The magnitude of today, the mammals of today are thought to be descended from those small creatures. Here's a picture of an asteroid taken by a spaceship. And this is the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. Tens of thousands of them. Left over from making planets. Next we're going to study meteorites. Asteroids are rocks and comets are balls of ice and gas, methane, carbon dioxide. Yorktown, Mary Ramage. Okay, Mommy, is it true that we come from dust and return to dust? Mommy said, certainly. And the little girl says, well, I just looked under the couch and somebody's coming or going.
That's a cute one. That is a cute one.
Arrival, Susan Lee White at 1, no, that's 12:40 p.m. on the 4th. Thank you, Susan, for coming all the way from Long Island to visit Glendora. all day. And I listened to and watched 2 videos by Carl Sagan about this great universe. Oh, it's so pretty, isn't it? This is November 4th, 2006, around 8 p.m. As beautiful as it is tonight, it still isn't full until, hey, maybe it's tomorrow it's full. Age is a matter of the mind. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. So from the beginning, the fight, we are winning. The moon last night and the sun this morning. And look at that dirty aerosol. Look at that dirty jet. Look at those ugly, nasty people ruining our atmosphere. Look at them. Isn't the sunrise beautiful? Isn't that nice? We rolled around during the night and came back to our sun. This is Sunday, Sunday, November 5, 2006. Well, I guess his kitty likes the new $5 pillow. Yeah, it didn't take long. It arrived last night. Oh, I guess this is a pretty nice pillow, isn't it, kitty? When she gets up, I'll show you the face of the pillow. It's cute. It's a white pussycat. Ingeniously designed. What did one ghost say to the other? Frankly, I don't believe in people. Holy, 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 merciful and mighty, God in 3 persons, blessed Trinity, perfect in power and love and purity. NewPillowsTooSmall.com. Too small, huh? This legal paper is going to William H. Young, Jr. and the clerk of the court, so-called Justice Court, town of Taconic, 909 Route 82, Ancram, New York. But it's going here. West Taconic. And to New York State Trooper and avid income producer for the RICO, which is the state of New York, at the Livingston Barracks, New York State Police, 3353, State Route 9, Hudson, New York. Actually, yeah, it's in Livingston, which is really in Columbia County. standing on the promises of God. Standing, standing, standing on the promises of God, my Savior. Standing, standing, I'm standing on the promises of God. Standing on the promises I cannot fall. Folks, look at this. These are hawks, aren't they? Don't they look like two judges? Now I finished this legal paper to read to you. And I said, gee willikers. It's warm enough, even though it's November 5th, to videotape outdoors. And we should be grateful about that. By the time I get the camera set up and dressed up to videotape, the aerosol comes in and shuts out the sun. Detest, loathe, hate, abhor the aerosol that's deliberately put out of these jets to poison you. Is it okay? I was going to do... Well, folks, what this lawsuit is about is that I took a stand, standing on the promises of God. I took a stand against the against New York State running a RICO. First of all, New York State spends money very foolishly, and they luxuriate themselves in the money that they steal from the poor citizens who are trying to get through life here. And one of their worst revenues, of course, the sales tax. That's outrageous. And the surcharges that they put on vehicle and traffic violations. The municipality may charge $25, but New York State comes along and puts $50 on top of it. The gasoline taxes. But the worst of all is the vehicle and traffic racket. These cops are forced and urged and coerced to bring in as many people as they can. Another terrible expense is the courts. The courts are no good. They're absolutely no good. They never deal with justice. There's a lot of hoopla, and particularly this thing with the court officers going through your personal effects as if you're a criminal, but you can't with dignity walk into a courthouse without being frisked. That's another big expense, all these magnetometers and all that personnel. I mean, New York State is just a ripoff through and through. And it is what you call a RICO. That is Title 18, the United States Code, Section 1961 et sequitur, in which the state acts as an enterprise, and they're actually an enterprise, a business, and their motive is money, and they use extortion, you know, all these traffic tickets, and they commit tens of thousands of predicate acts a year. So I took a stand against that. First of all, pointed out how long it took them to catch an expired registration. Year and a half. How long it took them to catch an uninspected vehicle. And they failed on that. And then in court, they failed on many things. No jury trial. The law is speedy trial in 70 days. They didn't make it until like 130 or 150. Completely ignore the law. They ignored the jury trial. They ignored the fact that by the common law, the state, who is the plaintiff in this case, has to produce an injured body. They could not produce an injured body. Therefore, they violated the common law. They should have dismissed it all. So their money is going out to them. And I also included here questions that I want the Judge William H. Young, Jr. This all happened in West Taconic, Columbia County. And I asked the town justice, so-called, this is an injustice court and an injustice, town injustice, to answer some questions. Did you take an oath to support the United States of America? No, to support the Constitution and the Constitution of the state of New York. And a lot of other questions, and it's out to, here are the questions I want him to answer. I made a list of the pages in the questions. Alpha enclosed is your money, your RICO ripoff. And this is a Glendora application to the court. And citizen of the United States, citizens of the state of New York. Demands that Town Justice William H. Young Jr. answer in writing numbered questions in the enclosed 14 pages. A, page 3, 2, both parts, page 4, page 4, page 4, page 4, page 4, page 4, questions 3, 6 through 8, page 5, 5, questions 7 through 10, and page 8 and page 9, and Glendora moves for dismissal of all charges, in this case with prejudice, for including, but not limited to, lack of jurisdiction, lack of constitutional authority, defiance of the federal and state constitutions, denial of due process, perjury of oath, insurrection and sedition against the Constitution, that's what these courts commit, and treason against the American people, in the instant case, the defendant. The return date is December 7th, 2006, Pearl Harbor, and this was executed on November the 4th, 2006, by Glendora. Here's a copy of their money orders, postal money orders that were sent to them. And here's the paper that explains to him the questions I want him to answer. And I sent a copy to this to the person who's coerced to bring in the dough, bring in the tickets, and keep going on this RICO, Racketeer Influence Crime Organization. That's what that legal paper is about. Now, quarter after, and we are going to rejoice that here it is, November 5th, and we have sunshine. And we are videotaping outdoors. It's marginal, but believe me, the phalanges are plenty cold. There are two workers, two women at the IRS opening the income tax forms, and one of them was heard to say to the other one, "Ooh, here's a good one. 45 years old, no dependents, and $75,000 a year." The auditor was in the office going through the books, and he said to the secretary, "What is this ESP?" It's all over the place. ESP, ESP, ESP. She said ESP means error someplace. "You were a tidy little boy," the mother said as she rode along in the bus with her son, "not to put your banana peeling on the bus floor." "Where did you put it?" "In the pocket of the man sitting next to me." A young man taking an exam to get a job on the state dam came to the question, "What does hydrodynamics mean?" And he put down on his paper, "It means I don't get the job." Now, aging is a matter of the mind. If you don't mind, folks, it doesn't matter. The man vowed that he would go to Atlantic City, but he would not bet any money. He would only bet mentally. He would watch the wheel go around and around. He would not bet any money. He would just bet mentally. And in no time at all, he lost his mind. During the Lyndon Johnson administration, Mrs. Lyndon Johnson took 3 or 4 women to Howard Johnson's for a luncheon. And afterwards, the press secretary said to the waitress, "You were very good. You weren't nervous, and it isn't every day that you get to serve Mrs. Lyndon Johnson, the wife of the President of the United States." And the waitress says, Oh, is that who it was?" She said, "I thought it was Mrs. Howard Johnson." It's a good thing about the income tax that it's in April, when it starts getting warm, because they take the shirt off your back. In the United States Navy, one of the sailors put a sign on the door of the chief surgeon. Guess what it said? "Wizard of Gauze." A man called the airlines and he said, "I want a round-trip ticket from San Diego to Mishawaka, Indiana." And the ticket agent says, "How do you spell Mishawaka?" And the man says, "Never mind, South Bend is close enough." And when Notre Dame went co-ed, the headline in the student newspaper was, "It's official, men, Notre is going Dame." You know, folks, it used to be IOU, and now it's IO everybody. What did one ghost say to the other? Frankly, I don't believe in people. This is Glendora, Cheerful Look at Life, and it's brought to you by I want to read you a law. It's a very, very important law. You want me to show it to you up close up? It's Title 18, the Criminal Code of the United States Code, and it's Section 1001. I have said it to you at least 100 times, at least 1,001 times. And it says that whoever, in any manner within the jurisdiction of any department or agency of the United States, knowingly and willfully falsifies, conceals, or covers up by any trick, scheme, or device a material fact, or makes any false, fictitious, or fraudulent statements or representations, or makes or uses any false writing or document, knowing the same to contain any false, fictitious, or fraudulent statement, or entry, shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 5 years, or both. Every U.S. attorney that I have ever known, and that's quite a few, should be fined and should be in jail. I have caught all of them doing that. I have caught the Attorney General of the state of New York doing that, Elliot Spitzer, 40 times. What was that now? What was that number? It was Title 18, that's the criminal code of the United States Code. And what section was it? Right, 1001. Remember. Let's see what the Happy Book has to say for you. Boy, it's cold out here. I should go look at the thermometer. The Happy Book says, if John does not like himself, John is not apt to like others. If John likes himself, John is apt to like everybody. Rather than admit disliking himself, John may project his dislike of himself onto others. Rather than thinking about how wrong John is, John may choose to think how wrong others are. Good for you, Happy Book. Here's the Alpha program, which is a program that churches have to help people understand the Christian faith and to even help Christians understand the Christian faith. Look at this. This is Maud Celestin, and she owns a Christian bookstore and a Christian cafe. Ooh, look at the shadow on this. And she is having a holiday vegetarian cooking class. Certified vegetarian vegan chef, Sulua. And it's all in 2 consecutive days. Saturday, November the 11th. Saturday, November the 11th at 6 p.m. and Sunday, November the 12th at 2 to 4 p.m. at 3050 Main Street, Valatia, New York, at La Jardin, the Garden. Free admission and limited seating. Register. Le Jardin. JustForYou.com. Well, there was here's this little Alpha book I told you about. Are you burdened such as this poor man with a question? Look at that. The Alpha Course Manual. Nicky Gumbel. See the great big question mark he's carrying? There was a case called Glendora versus Charles F. Dolan, Cablevision Systems Corporation, his son James L. Dolan, Mac Budil, Thomas Garger, Charles Former, Peggy Anderson. These are all Cablevision people who earn their money by not doing what they should. And Christine Savarino and Cecilia Masterilli, and a liar for hire, Robert Callaghy, and the liar for hire law firm, Sadly Stevens, Burke and Burke, and Patricia Langelotti. This case was brought in the town court, town of Harrison. And George M. Voch, John M. Voch, the town justice, did an unspeakably inept job. It's hardly a job, a performance. It's hardly a performance. Anyway, he did miserably. And the clerk messed up the case horribly. They split it into 2 cases. You cannot do that. Okay, if the case has to go as the plaintiff wrote it. And I told them 100 times that they had done wrong, but they wouldn't correct it. And so they sent it down. Oh, well, that'll come out later, I guess, in the next paper I'm going to read to you about it. And they sent it down to the appellate term, Supreme Court, State of New York, 2nd Department. And I wrote a motion to have them put the case back together the way it was when I filed it, to undo the damage. Oh, well, the appellate term put the case back together, but they put it back together upside down. They made it Glendora versus Patricia Langelotti. It's unbelievable, and this is what I'm telling you about the RICO, the vehicle and traffic racket. This is why. And we pay all this money for good courts, and look what we get. They couldn't be much worse. Just a second, folks. I'll turn off these. So, naturally, I appealed it. And on November the 1st, the appellate term, the 2nd Department, held its oral argument in the county seat of the County of Orange in Goshen, which is a very pretty place, a very attractive little town. Is it a city? And so Mary took me there, and I paid her $100 to take me there. And because of this RICO, vehicle and traffic, I will not drive again because I will not be their victim again. And I want to read to you what I said. There were about 13 cases on the calendar, 5 or 6 didn't show, and no opposition showed to Glendora. There was no opposition. And they always, all the courts, keep my cases until the end. Why is that? I think it's because they know Glendora is going to tell them off, and they don't want the rest of the public to hear it. Maybe that's it. Or maybe it's because Glendora cases always take so much time. Well, anyway, they held it until last, and the courtroom was empty. There were 3 lawyers sitting there. When I started, I don't know whether they stayed through it or not. And there was Mr. McNichols, who was very unsociable, but a couple of court officers were there, Steve and Joe, and they remembered me from 10 years back when I used to go down to the appellate term in Brooklyn, and they remembered Franklin, and they remembered him so fondly, and that was so nice to encounter 2 people after these 3 years at Franklin. The change, I guess, in his life. It was so nice to have them remember him as he was, a sweet, kind, amiable man of excellence of character and elegance of mind. So that was one good thing that came out of it, and it was interesting for Mary because she didn't know anything about the courts. This was hardly a place for a beginner to find about the courts. But anyway, I went before them, and I was wearing the last of the summer clothes you can wear. It's over, folks. I had to put the summer clothes away, but I was wearing a pink hat and a pink plaid jacket and a baby blue furry vest and a pink tie. And I went before them and I said, this is November 1st, All Saints Day, and I am your saint. I said, here's the halo, and here are my wings. And I said to Angelillo, you are a little angel. And I said to Tannenbaum, you are a Christmas tree. And I said all of this was astrologically auspicious. Well, the presiding justice, named Rudolph, said, get on with the brief. And I said, under penalty of perjury, Glendora asseverates with alacrity that she's telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help her God. And Rudolph says, you don't need that. This is not a trial. This is a hearing. Well, I still think you should take an oath that you're telling the truth at a hearing. And lawyers don't. And I said to them, if I were to, these are 3 judges, Angelillo, Rudolph, and Tannenbaum, A-R-T, Art, as Mary pointed out. If Glendora asks you, have you taken an oath of office, you will say yes. And Rudolph says, get on with the brief, get on with the brief. And Glendora says, no, this is important. Pursuant to your oath in your performance of your official duties, including those before this court, you are required to abide by that oath. Is that correct? And he pushed me on again. But I stuck to what I was saying. And I said, I appear before this court as a living, breathing, natural-born American citizen, with and claiming all rights guaranteed to me in the federal and state constitutions, and with my name properly spelled in upper and lower case letters. Is there any objection to what I just said? Now it's stony silence. Stony silence. This court, Glendora says, abides by all the powers of and rights guaranteed to American citizens in the federal and state constitutions, including the due process of law. Is that correct? Stony silence. I am entitled to and guaranteed a fair and impartial hearing presided over by 3 fair, unbiased, and impartial judges. Is that correct? Stony silence.